We need to press the
Recording
bingo.
is in
Bingo.
progress.
Yeah, we are.
To the yes.
Nice. And the room is filling up.
It's been one of the most boring weeks in the market for months, which is actually kind of a fucking good thing. And I think we should have kind of a meta discussion around that.
Yeah, because one of the thoughts that I had that I wanted to discuss with you was this cycle has been accelerated. We don't normally get to all-time highs until a little bit later on, which is great, which is really fantastic. But I was thinking, hang on a minute, we're going to have to take some kind of breaths here because either this cycle will
This is
just
what it is.
yeah.
Right. This is at the heart of the matter. Is there's two ways we can work off, speculative excitement. The first way is by crashing, which we've done a little bit of, and the second way is just by boring everyone out of the game.
Yes, yeah. And that is the game because so many people will give up. They just will give up,
Oh, it didn't
And
work for me. Oh, it didn't
yeah,
work for me. I tried that. It didn't work. Like,
especially because this new money has changed hand as well. It's like all those people that sat up for 4 years because they bought in at the top, they sold to new people, including my friend Monty that I've put pictures of in the group several times. Monty's a mortgage advisor, staunch fiat guy. He's suddenly loving Bitcoin when it's at that all-time high. And I get a little message from him the other day. Well, I've let some of that Bitcoin go and I'm just getting a bit of this. It's not really giving me the return. He's given up already.
so, okay, so let's dig into that a little bit before we get started. So how do you know who's a strong hand and who's a weak hand? A weak hand is generally someone who's recently into their position. Like generally, if you bought a month ago and it hasn't done anything for a month, you think, well, this is shit investment. If you bought 10 years ago for $1,000, if you bought 5 years ago for $1,000 and it hasn't done anything, it's like big deal. So the strength of your hand and the strength of your conviction is a function of your experience and your ability to withstand that, which is withstand the swings, which is why we've been telling people not to use leverage lately. I think it's time to actually change that. So which is one of the things that I wanted to talk about today. But I might let you kick it off, and if there's anything you've got to talk about first, and then I'll bullshit on with my line of.
Yeah, I got just some thoughts on where we are with Bitcoin. I like to do a couple of my little drawings. I even label them now so I can remember what they are. But cutting to the chase, we have this parabolic window that's coming up at some point. To get to that parabolic window, I believe that we're going to go through this reaccumulation period. Now, we can look at historical halvings and say, has this kind of thing happened before? We know that it does. There's an accumulation afterwards. How long that accumulation lasts, I'm not going to try and guess. So I'm looking at the chart here. I'm looking at the weekly chart, and there's a lot of talk like
We're in a sideways zone, right? Like
yeah.
we're in, and yeah.
So
Sorry.
a lot of people are, like, is the bottoming, is this, like thinking that this bottom is this kind of like this set kind of rigid line. Hi, I'm the bottom. But if we look at this, I'll just zoom in a little bit. This level here, it's fairly arbitrary as well, say 60,000. We've got a wick there. We've got a wick there that almost touches, and we've got a wick there that almost touches. So to me, that says that the bottom of this range that we're in is somewhere around that kind of 60,000. And that's as close as I need to get.
I think this is, I think the more obvious it becomes, the longer this goes on. That may not have been 100% true like 5 weeks ago, but the longer this goes on, the more that's true. I'd say there's probably 85% chance of that being true right now.
Mm-hmm. So if I'm looking to, accumulate more Bitcoin, then I've got bids in there, and then I've probably got stink bids in going lower and lower and lower to catch some, to catch some cheeky wave. Like, this might not seem a bargain to some people But to other people, this is bargain buying territory for Bitcoin. And that's what makes a market. So right now, if I'm accumulating Bitcoin, I'm trying to grab it down here, and then I'm just letting this range. I'm not trying to be clever and sell it at the top of the range or anything like that, because there's no need to. And then just see what happens, and just keep accumulating.
So what you're thinking is that anywhere towards the bottom of the range is good buying.
Yeah,
Okay.
anywhere at the bottom.
Now, do you think it kicks off with Bitcoin as it has the previous times, or do you think it kicks off with Solana, one of the other big caps? Do you think it kicks off with a new narrative that maybe we haven't seen yet?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts there? Like, it's kind of hard to tell, right?
Right now, it seems like that this is Bitcoin's market. And kind of that's it. Bitcoin is in charge, like right now.
Okay,
So
and that's because of the ETF flows, I think.
yeah, I would say so for sure. So to answer your question, we all know the money flow, Bitcoin into those big layer ones like Ethereum, but I don't know what is going to be the trigger of that money going into those layer ones. Like whether we sit in an accumulation range for 1 month or maybe 6 months, then we get the explosion to the upside. And then that, as per the kind of normal money flow, then starts to go through. But I don't know how to choose between them, if I'm honest, as a trigger event.
Okay. Anything else you wanted to bring up before I jump in?
No, man, I want to get on the back end of your thoughts.
All right, let's have a look. Okay, so let's start with, I think we've got to look at crypto is trading as a beta to tech stocks. So we've got to look, crypto is, if we look really, you can't excuse the fact that crypto went nuts while tech stocks went nuts. And the crypto came off the boil when tech stocks came off the boil. I think we got the old reverse penis pattern strike rate unmatched there. I think we've got to pay attention to what's going on in the hard right edge of the tech stock chart. You can see we've got a little opening gap and potentially a gap and go, and this really looks like a bottom into me. Like, I think that's, broadly speaking, supportive of speculative assets, supportive of speculative risk assets. The next thing I want to look at is Bitcoin. And exactly, my chart looks exactly like yours. You know, we've got this very, like, wherever you draw the line, we've got a strong reaction off the lows. And then the last week kind of sucked, it just edged down. So we had what, 4 days up, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days down to get us about halfway down. So it's going down with a lot of overlap. It's going down with a lot of lower wicks. It's going down hard. And this is really from the 13th of March to 29th of April. We've had 6 weeks of really, this first 2 weeks were terrifying. And then the rest has just been boring and heartbreaking, right?
Very much.
Just boring and heartbreaking. This is good. So the thing that I want to point out to you is, after a move like this, we could easily have justified going straight back down to here before we went. Instead, we've gone sideways for 6 weeks, and we're probably going to end up in about the same spot. I think Bitcoin looks annoyingly boring, but still pretty good here. I've got some ETF flows. here. So these are the daily ETF flows. And it's just almost nothing. Like this was a very big deal when they started out, and it's just bored away to it's just being bored away to nothing. The real thing that we want to know is how are altcoins going? And what we want to do is catch some of these altcoin runners, because as this market starts to go, we're going to see some runners here. So this is total 3 minus USDT minus USDC. Let's have a look at that. And you can see we've basically got the same thing, except we got bigger wicks. Like we wicked down to basically perfectly down to where we were in January, right? So temporarily we wiped off 3 months worth of profits. That's a total reset. If we go below here in altcoins, I think you can say I'm wrong. And I'm fucked below here. Like a close below here, not like another wick like that. I think that's a pretty reasonable way to look at things. I also think that what we need to be looking for is what are the first movers out of the gate. So with that in mind, switch and let's take a look. Okay, so where was our big crash? Was down here, right?
Mhm.
So what have we got going? We've got Bitcoin is here. Almost all of our alts are beating Bitcoin. In fact, what's not beating Bitcoin? Whatever the fuck that thing is. HNT. Well, it's a shitcoin. So let's add a few more here. Let's add Pendle. And let's add ENA. So near which we hold has been an outstanding SEI, INJ. They're all a bit, they're all, it's all a mixed bag, but we're all above Bitcoin. This is ENA hasn't been performing well. To me, this looks like people accumulating Bitcoin. This looks like people accumulating altcoin for the next run. That's what it looks like to me. Let's take a look at some individual sectors. So ENA, I bought here. I'm down pretty reasonably on it, but I'm okay with that. Like this one, I think is going to be really good. Pendle is one that I've been waiting to accumulate more. It's choppy, right? Like it's, you couldn't say that's definitely a bottom, and you couldn't say it's a sell, and you couldn't say it's a buy. It's just choppy. NIA is a bright spot for our portfolio. It's doing pretty well. Looks great. Right out of the gate. IMX completely savaged, but recovering okay. Let's look at Woo. Completely savaged, but where are we at there? Fuck, 30 cents. God, that's a bargain.
Jeez.
Did you sold some of yours at?
Yeah, I sold a huge chunk, yeah. But
Okay.
I'm tempted to get back in.
Tempted to get back in there. Solana, I mean, you know, this is obvious, right? Like this one, if we get a bull market, all these things are going to go. BNB close to highs. I think BNB is the best of the large caps right now. Let's have a look at Render. Bit savaged. INJ a bit savaged. Link never really got back in the game. Sui. It's savaged. Let's look at some of these AI coins. FET. I mean, they all look like the same, like Ajax. They all look the same. FIL, savaged. Ethereum, Bitcoin finally caught a bid. Finally. And okay, so this is the big news from last week, is that Ethereum is starting to like wake up. That's quite a nice looking chart. I wouldn't be opposed to going long with Ethereum on leverage here. So my thinking is we've wiped a lot of leverage out of the system. If we look at, let's look at Ethereum because we're talking about it. Let's put CVD spot and CVD futures. And let's change that from 1 hour to 6 hours. You can see at the highs how high open interest was. And now we've wiped it out back down to where it was basically in, February. Leverage traders are still selling out. But look at what the spot traders are doing on Ethereum. This is very, very interesting to me. This to me tells me that Ethereum is probably looking pretty interesting, right?
It is.
I'm tempted to start looking at leverage again. I think leverage was very unsafe not long ago. And I think leverage on Ethereum and BNB is probably not bad. Let's take a look at Ondo. Still looks quite good. Vertex, I think this one was fucked and we sold out here, and I'm glad we sold out of that. Yeah, sold out of that. Let's look at some memes. Doge still looks, I mean, if you held that, you wouldn't sell it. Pepe looks actually pretty good. What else in the meme space? Sheep. Not terrible. With doesn't look terrible. Cock looks to have found a bottom. Fuck me, I sold mine here. Damn, fumbled the bag. I think it's just a waiting play here. I really think it's just a waiting play. Like you've got two choices here. Chill in spot in the strong coins, which is what I've been doing. And I've barely been paying attention to it. Or we could go Ethereum, BNB, a couple of the stronger ones. That's also a pretty reasonable play. As long as you kept the leverage to about 2.5 here, I think you'd be pretty solid. What are your thoughts here?
So as for a waiting game, I think exactly that, because the market doesn't feel one way or another. Like I don't feel scared at the moment, like something's going to happen, but I don't feel excited either.
Exactly. So I just feel bored, to be honest.
Yeah. So with just with the leverage, what I've been saying to people is like, think of leverage as the hardest debt collector in the world that will always collect. So it's like, just go easy. Please just go easy.
Well, leverage is a good idea after a reset. It's not a good idea when everyone's getting a bit frothy. I just want to point out this Retardio thing is showing wonderful, wonderful, wonderful price action. I think we're going to see something just truly extraordinary out of this. The level of engagement that this coin is getting, Polymarket and Phantom Wallet were tweeting about it. Van Eck tweeted about it. You know, one of the biggest ETF providers. It's only a $34 million market cap coin, and it's got Ansem and Smolting and some of the biggest influencers in crypto are all over this. I think this one's going to jump the shark and become like a cock or a whiff at some point. Just because it's so like patently awful, pretty much. Let's have a look at some FINREV position. Let me sign you in. So let's start with Bitcoin. It's basically nothing. Almost no position. Ethereum, half a position. AVAX, negative. AVAX is a short. Shit. Bitcoin Cash, BNB, full position. Now look, it's all just dead boring, man. What you want to do here is just chill in spot and wait for it to wake up. If we look at we've seen volatility just fall off a cliff in the last week, and we're back down to the lowest volatility that we've seen since February. So since things started to go nuts, and you can see at times of low volatility, you can see that at times of low volatility, we tend to get big moves in direction unknown. And you saw that here in this time of low volatility here was what kicked it off. So what do I think's happening? I think this is presaging a big move in direction unknown. I think the odds are at least 65-35 that we do this. I think if we go down a bit more, we're probably going down to do this. I think if we get down to here, then we're into wrong. And then we've got to adjust. But I can't see that happening. Is there any, can we take some requests? Is there any coins that you guys want us to look at?
Yeah, sure. I think they'll be firing them in. Let me find one. What's the
Ton is a very interesting ecosystem right now. This is a strong coin. Strong coin. Rune, bit savaged. I still hold this. What else we got? Phil, bit the same. It's a bit beaten. It's a bit beaten up, but everything's a bit beaten up. Clearpool, never heard of it. Let's have a look. That looks like it's found a bottom. Gummy, I never heard of it. Have a look. That's a small coin. You don't really want to have anything to do with those. Retardio is looking really great. Retardio is, almost double this time last week, almost double the week before. You know, it's a 4x off the lows. And I think it's a $34 million market cap coin. I think we've got somewhere between a 5x and a 10x before you can start taking profits. I think we got one in our hands there. Okay, so let's look at some of these bullshit coins. Slurf is the sloth coin. I haven't looked at this in a while. This is a fucking embarrassment of a coin. No, you don't want that. It's probably going to come good. Dice, never heard of it, but let's have a look. This is a scam, clearly. Let me just chat again. Jupiter. Okay, so let's look at Jupiter. This is an interesting coin. It still looks okay. It's just beaten up because the market's been beaten up. Miles, Scott, can you clarify how to read the size of the shorts in FinRev? Not sure what that means. Not sure what that means. CHZ, there's a coin I haven't thought about in a while. It looks like every other coin. They all look exactly the same. Miles, do I think the volatility of Retardio? I think Retardio is a bet on it capturing attention. Whether or not that plays out, we've yet to see. I think it's got more mind share than it should for a $34 million coin. There's thousands of these meme coins competing for attention. FTM looks like every other coin. ENA, it's brand new, so it's really difficult to get a read on it. I'm very, very bullish on ENA. Brett. I don't know how this thing got listed. It just must be a bunch of Brett dudes who own their own coin. I wouldn't touch this. Polkadot. Does anyone know a single person who uses Polkadot chain? Like, it's been around for years. I don't know anyone who uses it. It looks like every other coin. Luna C looks like it's found a bottom. ZRX, dinosaur coin. Savaged, but what about BitBoy's new meme? Dude, when a guy's a cocaine addict and like 100-time over scammer, and he's just generally a piece of shit, what do you think he's going to do with his meme coin? He's going to steal all your money. Like, you don't have to have a crystal ball to realize that the broke cocaine addict launching a meme coin is going to rug you and take your money. Yeah. HBAR is has some problems. Don't touch anything after you see a candle like that. This is like pump and dump stuff. What is the largest short position? Let me just see. Let's go through some FINRA positioning today. Let me log out. Log back in. Okay, just loading it up. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, so let's have a look how FinRev's been doing. It's just flatlining. Now, FinRev is gonna be slow to pick up because it's got some shorts in it now. So if we look at, you know, eyeballing it, we've got low volatility, large shorts. I mean, we're long all the things that I want to be long. And we're short the things that I think we should be short. I mean, that's a pretty decent portfolio for right now, but it's just going to struggle. It's going to struggle to explode in value because it's holding so many shorts. So if we look at the portfolio, so let's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 longs. And so we're holding more shorts than longs. So we're mostly short in FinRev, which I guess is not so bad. It means that it means that if we get a market crash and I'm wrong, we're not going to get fucked. We're going to make money. But if we look at our biggest positions, our two biggest positions are BNB, Bitcoin dominance, TRX. TRX is just an absolute fucking mystery to me. Look at this. It's strong. It's legit strong. I mean, yeah, I'm sorry I don't have much to add today, guys. It's just really like we've got to wait for the market to do something. Thoughts on Sloth? All right, let's have a look at Sloth. ERC20 meme token. Sloth Arnhem. Well, it's brand new today. The idea is to hodl and earn 2% fee from transactions. I've got no real opinion on Brett. I think it's done better than it should have. It's got mind share. People are buying it. This platform is Deck Screener. This is probably the best place to look for all these shitty coins. Theta is a chain that no one I know uses. It's for effective purposes a dead chain, but the chart still looks okay. OP. I think OP will catch a bit of a lift here because OP you can think of as broadly speaking related to Ethereum, and I think it's catching a bid, and it looks like the bottom is in, and it looks like the first early move. Tony,
It's a really
Brett,
great question from Richard Renshaw, Scott, just in the chat now.
sure.
He's asking if you had $1,200 today, what would you buy?
All right, that's a good question. Today, what's your time frame there, Richard? Are we talking about for the next week, the next month, or just for today?
So a quick look. So this money's come from profits, so that might have some bearing on his answer.
If I was looking for the next 2 days, what I would buy is Ethereum on leverage here.
Nice.
Any advice on what to hold for the next 18 months?
That's an interesting question.
That's a pretty interesting question.
I mean,
yeah.
it's like if you were to put that, say, into Sol, and we get a bull market, then I think that Sol's still got 5x left in it. But there would be other coins that you could look at, like Uni, that might have a 10x in them, which
I
is
think
where
if Sol does a 5x, there's other things that are going to more than 10x because Sol is
yeah.
slow. Sol is an institutional coin. I think Jason Worrell has it right. Pendle, ENA, Sui, Near, Sol, and an equal. Jason Worrell has the near perfect answer, like an equal blend of those for 18 months. I think that's. I think that's probably as close as anyone's going to get. I am red hot on Pendle, and some of the institutional traders I know are into this Pendle staking. I like Woo. I think Woo is Tim. I wouldn't get into XRP. There's just too many bag holders with it. Brian, if you've got 10,000 sitting in BTC and ETH, do I go FinRev? Now, this is an interesting question. It depends what your drawdown tolerance is. If your drawdown tolerance is high, you can probably get similar performance to FinRev, but with probably 3 times the drawdowns, just holding BTC and ETH. If you don't like drawdowns, FinRev is much better. Ajax is one of these very hyped AI coins. Either Ajax or FET looks like, or what's the other one? AOS. Those 3 look like the leaders of the pack for AI coins. I would probably split it equally between those 3. But yeah, I think Ajax is I think AI is one of those like hot topics right now, and anything that's even remotely hot is it, right? Is Bitcoin ETF created to control Bitcoin? No, none of that. All that stuff is just conspiracy theory, idiot stuff. You know why people created the Bitcoin ETF is because they can make money from creating a Bitcoin ETF. You know why they created the gold ETF is because there was a lot of money in creating a gold ETF. They earn fees off it. It's not about like, how do we control it and suppress the price of this? That's all bullshit, man.
A FinRev question, Scott, that brings together a whole bunch of questions. So we just had that recent run and everybody's FinRev was taking off. So the general broad question is, when my FinRev is right at the top of the market and it's in profits, why doesn't FinRev lock in 100% of that profits? You know, like, why am I seeing my account, those profits come down? Why does that have to happen?
You mean why don't we go straight up all the time? Why don't we have a foot? Okay. So what we're doing here is we're not trying to predict the future. What we're trying to do here is we're taking a certain type of risk, which is unpalatable to most people. Because we're taking that risk, we can reasonably expect to be rewarded for that risk. And we don't know the future. This could easily have just kept going and going and going. Because we don't know the future. Yeah. If we start taking profits just because it goes up, we would have taken profits here, and then we would have missed out on that. You know, that's just the way it is. 3 AI projects are due to merge. Ocean AI and I don't know the date for that. I've been hearing rumors about it. Tony Whiteman, Aero. This is one I don't know. Miles, I have a meeting about that after this, so I'll be able to update you on that in the group later today. Yeah, I think FinRev is performing exactly as it should, guys. Like, it's like I have absolutely no problems with FinRev, and let me show you how little problems I have with FinRev. Shit. Let me just load up my own account. And I was a little bit User management, manage users. Let me just log in here. Let's look. Okay, I'll show you. You shouldn't really pay too much attention to the bullshit that comes out of my mouth, but you should probably pay attention to what I actually do. So on the 18th of April, I added another 60 grand to it. To my, this is one of the sub accounts I have, and this one is running at 90 vol. So I put another 60 grand at 90 vol. And how has that been doing? It's not been doing great. It's not been doing anything. 64, 63, 62. So yeah, I thought it was, I thought the 18th of April, which is 10 days ago, was the perfect time to add to FinRev. And so that's probably a better indication than the stuff that I say is the stuff that I actually do. So if you want to say, do I think Retardio is a good coin? Like, let me log into my little wallet here and say, okay, I got 75 grand worth of Retardio. Like that's probably a good sign that I think Retardio is a good coin. A lot better than me, looking at a line on a chart. Is generally the way that I look at things. I just got in early with Retardio, Perry. I didn't. It wasn't a big initial investment. It was small. I've got a 10x there, and yeah, I was in like here, right? Actually, I was in here. So, I think I think I'm going to pull 7 figures out of Retardio. How did I find Retardio to get in early? There was a meme that was so offensive. It was just a truly awful meme. And like really like, oh, people are going to get upset about this. And I was like, yeah, that's worth the bet. And it has been worth the bet. And, I've had to hold through some pain. Like this was a couple $100 here, and then it was, back down to 20 grand, and now it's something. I think it'll go. I got 9 today. I have 75 big ones in Retardio. Todd, yeah, I see a lot of stuff on Twitter. The thing that I think is really interesting here is the Pendle staking. I think Pendle staking is going to take off. Actually, I'll send you guys some stuff about it. Because it lets you get a risk-free return. Perry, what about the liquidity chart? Let's have a look at the liquidity chart. That is a really good idea. Look at that. Ooh, that doesn't look good. No, it doesn't look great at all. That looks like they're pulling liquidity out, dude. We got to keep an eye on this SPX chart. Want to keep an eye on this. Okay, what else have we got? Bevan, yes, I look at whale wallets. I look at whale wallets to work out if they're a scam or not. What is the news on PAAL? Never heard of it. Todd, no, I didn't take any profits on Retardio. I reckon it's okay, let's look at the DX. Eek. Yeah, it looks like it wants to go up. US dollar. Let's have a quick look at gold while we're here. Could go either way, but that's a pretty strong move. I just got nothing much to add. Don, any further thoughts on ENA staking and earn? I think ENA staking and earning and Pendle staking and earning are probably the standout opportunities for this cycle that we haven't heard of yet. I think both of those are absolutely standout opportunities. And I think that ENA is essentially the Ethereum basis trade turned into a stable coin. And I think it's a novel idea. I think it's executed by smart people, backed by smart people, backed with a lot of money. If they don't scam it, and they could easily turn it into a scam. If they don't do that, I think it's going to blow up and take a lot of attention. Let's have a look at Grok. I am generally, wow, that's a good looking chart. Okay, so things I like is I like that it was reaching a low with low volatility. That's a good looking chart, guys. That's an undeniably good looking chart. Yeah, I mean, there's obviously, the whole world is filled with dumbasses who suck off anything that comes out of Musk's mouth. Simon, what is my recommended buys going forward? Pendle, ENA, Woo, Sui, Nia. Yep. You got that word? Sorry, you got. Warren, when you see concentration of ownership, that's kind of what you want to see in the early stages. You want to see the 10 biggest wallets owning 90% of the tokens, because you know that if no one's selling, that there's incentive for them to pump it. Yeah, Jason, I think you're bang on. I think your thoughts are exactly aligned with mine, and I would throw a couple of other flyers in there. Iniki, I still like SEI. I still like Sui. I think everything's going to pump in the next run. Anything else I can look at for you guys? Manta. Manta or Mantra? Yeah, I got no opinion there. Shiba, I think there's better plays in the meme coin sector. I think it's likely that Shiba at this market cap is going to be overtaken by Dog with Hat, by Cock Inu, by a couple of others. What sort of time frame do you think? I think it'll happen very, very quickly once it starts happening. I thought it would start last week. So I'm kind of hoping that it would start this week, but I'm a long way short of 100% on that. I think if we come back next week and we're higher than we are this week, then I think we'll start to see it very quickly. I think it might be another 2 weeks before we start seeing some really big results.
Right.
MKR is interesting. That's an undeniably good looking chart. The bottom, you can say definitively is in from there. The low volatility is something I really like to see. I think that's a really good, chart. Tom, if the dollar goes up, it's generally a drag on real world assets like gold and cryptos and things like that. Best ones to buy right now. The ones that we covered today, I think. Okay, if you're buying today with leverage, Ethereum and BNB. If you're buying without leverage, near Sui, Render, Pendle, the ones that we've already covered. Jason's list I think is really good. But honestly, when the market turns, everything's going to go up. So I wouldn't get too precious about it. Like we're just in the waiting game, right? Kevin, I think Ethereum long today. I think Ethereum long right now. Myself, I use Hyperliquid for leverage trading. I mean, it's not necessarily that it's the best one, but it's the one that I use. I quite like it. Also, Hyperliquid has this points-based meme coin called Per, which is kind of interesting. I'm not an American, so I don't trade with Coinbase, but there's nothing wrong with Coinbase. They're a completely trustworthy company. All right, guys. Ian, anything you want to add before we wrap it up? I know it's a boring week, guys. Like, some weeks are interesting, some weeks are boring. That's just the way it is.
That's been a really awesome session. Thanks, everyone. See you in the group. Ta-da.
All right.